Okay, so like in the last time we discussed like how to basically find the boundary conditions for it. So the boundary conditions for u and v, and like we had the differential equation. So like we need to find a solution for u which satisfy. But like solving that equation is like very hard. So for that we consider some simplifications, and those simplification we consider a plane strain problem. So in a plane strain problem, we basically consider that we have a rod, which is like it's just an example. Like we have a rod, it's like very infinite, but it's symmetric. So like what we can do is we can consider only one cross section of it, and this will be its circular cross section, and like we can assume that it's a 2D problem. So basically what we are considering is that it is a 2D problem where our assumption is that epsilon z, the strain in the z direction is equal to 0, and epsilon yz and epsilon zy xz are both 0, and there is some value of epsilon x, epsilon y, and which like obviously we'll have to find based on the strain and boundary conditions. And so, like, since we have our strain compatibility equations, we can basically write this in terms of this: epsilon x is equal to half v square sigma x plus this sigma y. And we can also write sigma z in terms of sigma x and sigma y, because like it's a 2D problem, so we need sigma x, sigma y, and we can write sigma z in terms of sigma x and sigma y by the compatibility equations which we wrote, the compatibility in the component equation which we wrote for each material. Like if you want the derivation, it's like given above in the notes. And so like basically in that case, now that we have reduced our equation to a less number of variables to a 2D problem, so in that case we just need one more thing, like the equation which we wrote for the conservation of mass and all that. It can now be basically written in terms of this. So like now that we have the equation which we wrote, that gradient of sigma plus f is equals to 0, that is now basically this equation, that it just basically says that the Laplacian of the trace of sigma is equals to minus 1 upon v, where v is the Poisson's coefficient, and this is the basically the divergence of the body force field. So this is like basically the plane strain problem, and the plane strain problem basically assumes that the like rod is very infinite simple. The plane stress problem, on the other hand, it basically states that what we are considering, it's a like very thick, a small plate with a very small thickness, and like on the thickness we are basically applying all the forces. So in that case also, like this strain problem was when like the length is very long, and the plane stress problem is when the length is very short. I mean, it's like very less thick. And so in that case, we basically consider, like in the last case, we consider that epsilon x equals to 0. But in this case, we consider that sigma z equals to 0 and tau xy is equals to 0. Whereas in the last case, we consider that epsilon z equals to 0 and epsilon y zx equals to 0. So these are the two differences between the plane stress and the plane strain problem. So by basically the relations between stress and strain, or by Hooke's law and the constitutional relations, we have this. We can find epsilon x, epsilon y by in terms of this, and like for this, by applying the same conditions of conservation of mass, the gradient of sigma plus f is equals to 0. We basically, it kind of converts into this equation. So like this is our major equation that we need to solve to get the sigma values and force values so that it satisfies. So what we do now is that now that we have this equation, that is in terms of Laplacian of trace of sigma is equals to some times of body force. So like most of the times we assume an equilibrium condition so that there is no body force. So in that case, our gradient of f is equals to 0, and in that case we consider an AD stress function. So the AD stress function is basically a 1D function. So like we want to find such a 1D function so that it's like basically it helps us so that we can like easily find our solution. Instead of finding three solutions for the vector field, we basically assume that our stress function is of the type sigma x is equal to gradient square of phi with respect to y, and sigma y is equal to gradient square of phi with respect to x, and sigma xy is equal to. So like we kind of assume that our solution is of the type like sigma x, sigma y would be of this type. So now like there's a reason why we assume that they are of this type, because like when we substitute them in this equation, gradient of sigma plus f, it will always result in zero. Like the gradient of sigma, when we consider sigma exists, then it's like basically zero, and f is also zero since we considered an equilibrium case. So basically, these are the what we consider. The phi is basically what we now consider as an Airy stress function. It's a 1D function. It's not a vector field, and from that we can basically derive the components of it. So now that we have this Airy stress function, we can basically substitute the trace of sigma into this. So like we have this Laplacian of trace of sigma, and since the gradient of f is zero, since f is zero, we basically kind of since there is no force, we basically convert it into the Laplace raised to 4. So this is basically a Laplacian acting on the Laplacian of phi, and this is equals to gradient square v. Gradient square v is equals to, it's just basically f is, we have written f as minus gradient of v, where it is some like field which based on the boundary condition we can apply, but like it's basically zero since we consider. So like in the end we only want this Laplacian for of sigma is equal to zero. So like this is basically kind of the Laplace equation, but like it's a more general form of the equation. So like it's a differential equation in xyz. So like we just want to find the scalar function which satisfies this equation. So like once we have found the scalar function phi, then we can find sigma x, we can find sigma y, and we can find sigma xy along with the boundary condition. So like if I have some function phi and it satisfies this condition and along with the boundary condition of that problem, then we have a perfectly fine solution for this. So like out of finding all sigma stress strain, we can just basically assume that plane functions like plane stress or plane strain functions, and then just basically find the phi function, and from phi functions we have basically everything that we need to find out. So basically there's this example. So like there's a tension in beam. So like if we consider a tension in the beam or like something like this, so like in this case we have these two boundary conditions, that sigma xy and sigma tau xy. So like we know that sigma x is equal to Laplacian of y. So like let us assume that phi function is basically is equals to a0 to y square. It's like only a function of y square. So like if the tension in the beam is like basically it's being stretched out. It's just basically being stretched out. So basically, in this case, we assume that Laplacian is equal to a y square. So like a by a 02 of y square basically satisfies this equation that gradient square of 4 is the phi is equal to 0, and then we basically satisfied it to match the boundary conditions which are given above to find a02 value. And then once we have the phi function, we can find stress by basically using these formula, and from stress we can find the strain, and from once we have strain we can find the u value. So like basically using this like Airy stress function, finding the Airy stress function, we can easily find the solution of almost any problem. Like given the boundary condition, we can just basically assume our Airy stress function, which will most probably be given in the examination, and we only just have to apply the boundary conditions for this Airy stress function and find the coefficient. And once we have the coefficient, we can find basically everything which is asked in the question. So like the derivation for this Airy stress function is not important how the equations came, but they are given in the notes if you want to check it out. So I'll see you guys in the next video.